following is a presentation of the Omega Broadcasting Network.
Hi, welcome to another episode of The Doors of the Church Are Open. Today we're in Macon, Georgia at Lundy Chapel Baptist Church. This church has been around for over 150 years. It's also the home of Otis Redding, whose father pastored this church. Today we're going to be interviewing Anthony Corbett. He is the pastor of this church, and also he is the chairman and president of the Georgia Baptist Convention. I've been looking forward to this interview. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to The Doors of the Church Are Open. Today, we're down in Macon, Georgia at Lundy Chapel Baptist Church, talking with the well-known Dr. Anthony Q. Corbett. Let us begin by finding out what's your story? What's Dr. Corbett's story?
Well, I was born in Dublin, Lawrence County, Georgia, to a single parent. My mom, Lily Mae Corbett. I was reared, as I say so often, between the projects and the farm. My mom was a LPN nurse. Brought up in the church all my life at an early age, a little small church called the Mumford Grove Baptist Church there in Dublin. Educated at the West Lawrence High School there, and went on to further my education in schools of theology. But I had a very intriguing upbringing. I'm proud of what the Lord has allowed me to accomplish and be from such, I call them humble beginnings. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm. You know, we were talking earlier, you were showing me some pictures out in your vestibule, and you showed me the top of the old church, and there was a cross up there. You said it was donated by Otis Redding.
That is correct.
Tell us a little bit about your history.
All right. Well, Lundy Chapel is a church that has been around for 152, almost 153 years, 1868. The church that you're referring to was built in 1963. And at that time, Reverend Redding was the pastor here, which was Otis Redding's father. And during the construction period, they needed a steeple, so Otis Redding donated the steeple of the little red brick church. So Lundy has a rich history in the Macon, Middle Georgia area, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
I didn't know that Otis Redding's father was a pastor, and I didn't know that he was a pastor here, but that's some pretty good information. Let's talk about Dr. Corbett, the president of the Georgia Baptist Convention.
Okay.
Tell us about that.
Well, I was elected the president in November of last year. We had an election in the midst of the pandemic, and I'm grateful the people of the state of Georgia elected me with almost 80% of the vote from our Baptist Convention. The General Missionary Baptist Convention is an institution that is approximately about 152 years old, and I'm honored to be a part of that leadership down through the years of what this convention has done for Black Baptists in the state of Georgia.
As president of the convention, what specifically are your responsibilities? What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, my responsibility is to, first and foremost, give biblical guidance through by way of Baptist doctrine to all of our Baptist churches. But really it's also to bring together, to unify the African American people as a whole, bring our strength, show our unity, because I think there's a great disparity in this nation and all across the state when it comes down to the African American people. So I want the General Missionary Baptist Convention to be the foundation, to set a platform to this nation, not only to this state, but I'm reaching beyond the state now, but to say to the people that, hey, we are better than where we are, and we can accomplish so much more. And we have accomplished so much more than what we've have been given credit for.
You know, there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with the position that you occupy. And it's not something that one man can do alone. So I take it that you have plans for developing a team of supporters, people that's going to work with you. Tell us a little bit about those plans.
All right. We do. I have a vice president at large, which hails out of Columbus, Georgia. In addition to the vice president, we used to have 4 regionals, but I'm trying to get the Constitution amended that we go to 6 regions. The reason going from 4 to 6 is so that we'll have more of a hands-on approach. We'll be able to connect with the people in the local communities, in the local areas, to really get some positive things done for not only the local church, but the local community. So we are building a team. Where we really need the help is the social justice piece. Other than that, the Constitution already have made me put in leaders across the state. But what we're trying to build now is the social justice piece, the mouthpiece, the eyes of people all across the state of Georgia. So that's where we're looking. That's where we really need the help, is for those people that have the vision, people that have experienced some of the Jim Crow, and some of the people that have experienced even now the new Jim Crow. And my slogan when I went into office in February was that we are basically raising leaders and connecting generations. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what I want to be known for, raising leaders and connecting generations. So we need help to get that message out all across the state of Georgia with the social injustices that we're seeing that's coming up in our state.
What do you feel are some of the issues that we really need to be focused on as a people, and what type of political support are you getting from local and state agencies, you know, in the governor's office and these types of things? Please tell us a little bit about that.
I think for me, first and foremost, is voter suppression. To me, that is just key, I think, to the success of any group, but especially to the African American. I think our voices need to be heard, not so much as, and also our votes need to be counted. And I think where we are and where we're headed is that they're trying to suppress the African American vote. And as an organization, as a leader, I cannot sit on the sidelines and be quiet about the injustices that I see that's happening, not only across the state of Georgia, but across this nation. There's a movement going on that is really trying to bring a lot of disparity to the African American community. And at some point, someone has to be that voice to speak out. My concern is I want to make sure that when I speak, when I talk, that we have the correct information. So again, we need prayers, we need the help, we need the support. But that's where I feel that the number one problem for the state of Georgia is right now, in addition to the pandemic.
How has the pandemic affected your ministry, your church here in Macon, and how is it creating circumstances for you as the president of the Baptist Convention?
Okay. Well, on the local church here at Lundy Chapel, actually when the pandemic hit, we were really already prepared to do virtual church. We were already doing virtual church. We have the social media outlets, all of that we were already doing. So basically for us at Lundy Chapel, we just went from pews being filled to about 15 people on the premises, on the campus site. So we were, with technology, we were there, we were ready, but that's not the case with a lot of churches that I have the privilege of serving as their president. But for Lundy, we weathered it pretty good. The only issue we have, and I know there have been some leaders that said they've received more finances during the pandemic than they were getting before the pandemic. Now that's not my case, but we are getting by, and just trying to really stay connected with our members as well. I'm kind of a down-to-earth guy, my down-to-earth approach. I call all of our senior members every so often. I don't have the secretary to do it, the admin assistant, our executive. I call them personally myself. We crack some jokes, laugh, have a good time. So just staying connected with the people really, I won't say has been a challenge, but I know it's necessary.
What do we need to say to the local political body and the governor's office to solicit the type of support you need to bring about the vision as president of the Baptist State Convention?
The General Missionary Baptist Convention is the largest African-American organization in the state of Georgia. And my goal is to bring the voice of the people back. It's not about AQ Corbett, it's about the voice of the people. I think the voice of our convention has been silent too long. I think the voice of our convention have been overlooked too long. So my goal to those elected officials is that they need to really take a look at the General Missionary Baptist Convention of Georgia, because we're going to make a positive impact in the future of elections that is coming up. A few months ago, the early part of this year, because of the pandemic, I wrote a letter to the governor and the governor's office, my concerns with the pandemic, and I have yet to receive any response. So, and that, I think that is just kind of shameful. And not only is it shameful, but it's kind of like they just dismissed the voice of a lot of people. And keep in mind, we're talking about 500,000 Black Baptists, you know, that can make a major impact. And that's 500,000 registered. That's not 500,000 connections. And so my goal is to make sure that our voice is heard. And not only just for Baptists, but for all of our African-American brothers and sisters. So that's my heart, that's my passion, is that we will be heard. You know, we have a plan that I will not go into today of discussion, but we will be heard. Our voices will be heard. I'm kind of like this, you know, I start kind of quiet and kind of like a storm. You know, you start off small and sometimes it develops and get larger and larger. And that's not in a negative way, but a positive way of making our voices. And the main thing is that we want to be correct in whatever we present to our politicians or our elected officials.
Well, you know, the election is important. A lot of these political figures, you know, they need the support of the families and the voters that the Baptist Convention has influence with. And I think that the convention is a force that would have to be reckoned with. And with that in mind, we're going to take a short pause. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Reverend Lightfoot, and I have an important question for you. What are you going to do when you find yourself in a position where you've had a death in your family and you have no provisions? It creates a great deal of hardship on the family. I'm proposing to you that you remember that when a death does happen in your family, you have that responsibility. Therefore, it makes sense for you to be prepared for that when it occurs. Now, we can help you do that. We can help you by having all of these arrangements taken care of in advance so that when you do have a death, all you have to do is make one call and we'll take it from there. There's a number below, call it. We'll be glad to help you be prepared for this time when it comes. Welcome back to the Doors of the Church Are Open. Dr. Corbett, tell us about your facilities here.
The campus here at Lundy encompasses about 35,000 square feet. We have, I think, a very beautiful sanctuary that encompasses a great number of events that we can sponsor, that we can have here at the church. We are technology sound, up to date with all of the technology. We also have the Administrative and Family Life Center next door, which encompasses classroom. Also, that's where our Grow Church is located. It's our Grow Church. We call it youth church from the old school, but we call it Grow Church now. But that our Grow Church, when we're in worship, they are having their own worship. They have next door, I think about 9 classrooms. They have their own worship center, which can seat up to about 275 people. So it's just, I think, a wonderful facility. And next to that, we have the gymnasium, where you get once you get your spiritual man fed, the physical needs of man is met. We have in the gym, we also have the workout room for people to come and just be a part of it. So we try to open the facility to the community. Also, I like to throw this in that about 5-6 years ago, our executive pastor came to me with a vision of having a conference, and it's called Refill. We just finished it up. The Refill conference is offered to anyone that wants to come, but we've had probably 500-600 young people at this conference, where we've had Kalante, Gavin, a lot of recording artists to come and be a part, where we minister to the young people. So we just try to take the facility and really make it work for the community. We just don't want to be a church to say, oh, they got a good looking facility or it looks good, but we really want to tap in and be a blessing to our community. We had so many events to go on here, even with the COVID testing. We opened up for that. We provided ways for people to come and be tested for COVID when the pandemic first hit. So we've also, of course, we have this program called Serve the City, where we go out and just minister to the needs of the people in the Macon, Middle Georgia area, just handing out food. When tornadoes and things hit in other areas of our state, we have an influx of people that are in the hotels and motels here in Macon. So what we do, our culinary staff, they come together, they prepare meals, and we just simply go knock on doors and give people hot meals. We also open our facilities for people that are graduating from high school, from different type programs that are sponsored by the state. We open our facilities. They call them the underprivileged. So we open our doors and let them come in and graduate, and they come across the same stage that we're on today and receive their diploma. So it's so many great assets, I think, to having this facility. So that's kind of the small part of what some of the things that we do. It's so much more that I can't even hardly remember, but we're just grateful to be, hopefully, and perhaps be that community church that God has called us to be.
Well, it certainly sounds like you all are doing a good job at it. As a matter of fact, I want you to touch on something, the Lundy University. Tell us how that got started. What's that all about?
Okay, the Lundy University, as you go to our website and see, it's actually an educational arm. We just named it the Lundy University, but it's really a part of what we call a ministry that really connects people in small groups, settings, but we call it Lundy University just to grab people's attention. And once we get that attention, then we can really pour to them what we're trying to do. So it's a small group setting that's held every Sunday morning during at 8:45. That's when they gather. And we talk about different life issues that people may be going through that they have experienced themselves. So just basically just small group settings where we're discussing things that happen in everyday life, and we put it in a biblical perspective. So that's kind of what Lundy University is. It's an inside thing for, and I won't call it an inside joke, but it's an inside thing for our church family.
Mm-hmm. I see. What do you think is the greatest threat to the church today?
The greatest threat for me, I think, is one, the abandonment of holiness, the abandonment of the Bible, the abandonment of what is morally right according to the Word of God. I see so many churches straying away from that. So I think that's the number one threat. Also, our young people, engaging our young people back into the church, that we can really be effective in the ministry and what we offer to the world at large. So I think we got to find that connection with our young adults. I won't even say millennials, but I think our young adult period. So I think it's real high on my list. Our program here at Lundy Chapel really focuses on the youth and young people because of that purpose. So I think those two things are really the greatest threat today for the church that we see as of right now.
You know, the responsibilities that you have as the chairman and the president of the convention and also as pastor, I'm wondering how you manage to balance your professional life and those responsibilities with your social life and your lovely wife and your family. How do you balance those things?
At this point, and my answer to you all is very honest. I think I've sacrificed so much against my family, so to speak, their family time. And my advice to any other, especially young pastor preacher, is make sure you give your family that time that they need. It's a great injustice, I feel, that when the pastor, the preacher, the leader does not give that family time. And I've been guilty, Dr. Lightfoot, of not giving the proper family time to my family. So you gotta find a balance. You gotta take family vacations. You gotta take time for you and your wife. Because if you don't, it can create problems not only for your family, but it can create problems for the church. And the way I've balanced between the church and the convention is that at the end of the day, my first priority, one, is my family, and then the second is the church, and then it's the convention. So those are the priorities that I have learned to kind of put forth and trying to make sure that everyone receives a little bit of Pastor Corbett. My family don't need to see Pastor Corbett or President Corbett. They need to see Anthony or Aunt, as my mom would call me. So they need to see that personal side of me. And I would say they need to see that personal side of any leader.
You know, Pastor Corbett, I can't help but see similarities between you and Senator Warnock. You have the same kind of history. He came up in the project, so did you. You both had humble beginnings, and now he's a senator. What happens if we call you to become Senator Corbett?
Honestly, at this point in juncture in my life, I don't see that. I see me being more of an advocate for another Senator Warnock. At this point, I'll never say never, but at this point, I just feel right now my focus is really trying to prepare other leaders, emerging other leaders and preparing other leaders. I'm a firm believer in knowing your place in society, knowing your place in history. And so as of right now, I'll never say never, but as of right now, I really don't see me seeking any type of political office at this time. I think I talk too much and say what's on my mind. I'm too blunt. but I think we also need it.
Well, you can tell that a good leader, he's humble. And you actually have impressed me as a man who has a humble spirit. Those are the kind of leaders that we need. With that being said, we're going to take another short break. We'll be right back.
If there had been a death in your family yesterday, what would you be doing today? Pre-planning allows you to plan all of your funeral and memorial services in advance. Learn more by calling 404-585-5936. Alpha 2 Omega CSSI has immediate employment opportunities available for appointment setters and family counselors. No experience is needed, and this is a work-from-home opportunity. For more information, contact 404-585-5936.
Are you prepared for life's unexpected events? Please allow Alpha 2 Omega to assist you with quality, affordable pre-need services. Call today and learn more about pre-need, post-life planning.
Reverend Corbett, I want to thank you for being the special guest today and to come out with us, to share with us who Reverend Corbett is. I almost called you Senator again. But in any event, tell our audience, how do we follow you? How do we contact you? And more importantly, I know we have people in our viewing audience that want to support you, support your church, and make financial contributions to this great facility here under the leadership of Dr. Corbett. Tell our audience how we can communicate to send contributions to your organization.
Thank you, Dr. Lightfoot, for allowing me to be a part of this show today. Listen, you can follow us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Roku, YouTube, all of that, and some more. We are out there, Lundy Chapel Missionary Baptist Church. Also, if you would like to sow into this ministry, you can do so by way of Givelify. All you have to do is download the Givelify app on your smartphone, make Lundy Chapel your favorite church, and give unto the Lord all you desire. You can also do it the old school way, which is mail in. You can mail it to Lundy Chapel Missionary Baptist Church, 2081 Forest Hill Road, Macon, Georgia, 31210. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Lightfoot, for allowing me the opportunity to be a part of such a great program. The doors of the church are open. Thank you so much.
And you're very, very welcome. And thank you for being with us today on The Doors of the Church Are Open.